dark chocolate keto brownies. It's going to be made with pork rind flour. There's no nuts, no dairy, and very delicious. Now I have an 8x8 silicone pan. However, today I'm going to show you how I do parchment paper in case you do not have a silicone pan. So I start out, I put it upside down, and then I measure the parchment paper to be equal to the bottom of the pan. And then what I'm going to do for now is tape this down to keep it in place. So I have a little masking tape that'll be easy to take off. Will not be left on once we cook it. And this should be okay. The sides may not be completely covered, but that's okay. And this way, this is going to allow you to lift it up when it's done. So I'm just going to put that way up front. So I have in here my pork rind flour, and I have a video showing how to make pork rind flour. You can buy it, but it's so easy to make and inexpensive. So in here I have 70 grams of pork rind flour. Now to that I'm going to add 64 grams of melted coconut oil. I have 100 grams of xylitol. You can use any keto sweetener you like. The only granulated sweetener we can use is xylitol. Erythritol causes extreme headaches. Allulose causes extreme gastrointestinal issues as well as headaches. And all of the monk fruit I have seen is actually mostly erythritol. So we use xylitol. Yes, we have pets. I'm very careful around my pets. If you have pets, be careful. If you have dogs, you may not want to use xylitol. To that, I have 50 grams of cocoa powder. Now, I weigh all of my ingredients because it's much more accurate than if saying, oh, a half a cup. Well, is it a packed half a cup? Is it a loose half a cup? And I used to love watching Alton Brown on the Food Network, and he always weighed his ingredients, and it just makes so much sense. So then I have a half a teaspoon of salt. Now salt is going to bring out the nice chocolate flavor. A teaspoon of vanilla, and get pure vanilla extract, not the fake stuff. I'm actually making my own vanilla extract. I bought some vanilla beans, and I have some in bourbon and some in vodka. Waiting, I have to wait about a year, so I've got about 6 months to go. A teaspoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, a half a cup of coffee. This is leftover coffee from this morning, so a half a cup of coffee. And a half a cup of coconut cream. And it's so easy, it's all in the blender. And why I like doing this in the blender is that it blends everything really well together. The xylitol is blended in. Since it's granular, it blends it nicely so that it's incorporated. And also the pork rind flour. Sometimes it's not as fine as you like it, but here, blending it up this way, it grinds it even more. So I have a high-speed blender. I'm just going to move some of this. Here goes. I don't know if you noticed, but it was starting to get very thick, which means everything is blended well. And then you just pour it in your pan. Look how thick that is. That is going to be amazing brownie. And I think that's just about all of it. Okay, it's not quite up to temperature yet. But we're going to put it in a 350-degree Fahrenheit oven for 20 to 30 minutes. After 25 minutes, I will check it, and when a toothpick comes out of the center clean, it is done. So we have just another minute or two until the oven is at temperature. Nice, chocolatey, fudgy, thick. And I can't tip it anymore because it's going to all go to one end, but it looks so good. So in the oven, I'm at 25 minutes and I'll test it. So I will see you back in 25 minutes. So I've taken the brownies out of the oven. They cooked for about 30 minutes. And I inserted a toothpick in the middle of it. When that came out dry, they were done. But I've let them cool a little bit so I can show you how easy it is to take it out of the pan and then to cut them up. One of the reasons why I used the parchment paper is that you just lift it up and it's done. It's so easy to remove. Now we cut this into 16 pieces. As I mentioned, I did have a silicone pan. However, it's so easy with the parchment paper to remove them that I have not yet used the silicone pans for the brownies. They look so good. Now, if I had more courage, I would put some coconut whipped cream on these. But given that I had a disaster the last time I tried to show you coconut whipped cream, I'm just going to eat it like this. A nice intense chocolate flavor, very moist. It's delicious.